And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
I disagree vehemently that you need to watch Breaking Bad to like this show. I'm still surprised that Mike dislikes it. I completely don't understand that, so I'm going to ignore it. But the way we...
I hate to say it, but I'm going to watch more of it.
I'm so goddamn proud of you, Mike.
Taking one for the team. Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle, Season 8, Episode 7, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me is a man who sees the 7 deadly sins as more of a to-do list. It's Mike McDonough. Also beside me this week is a lady who said that if she'd learned anything from 50 Shades of Grey, it's that women still haven't figured out that you can watch porn at home for free. Jonah, I love Canada, O'Flaherty. Live from Vegas, we have a man who's really surprised when the Air and Space Museum wasn't empty. It's Sean, I love cans, Leonard. This week we hope to discuss the movie Guru of Anana and some TV in the form of Schitt's Creek and Better Call Saul. We'll also have some news and some previews in coming to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing?
Fantastic, Steve. Thank
how are
you.
things? What you get up to this week?
What have I been doing? I was forced to watch rom-coms all weekend because that's all that was happening on Valentine's weekend. Even the fucking horror channel had romantic horror.
Really?
I did end up seeing Hitch, which I missed when it was out of the time. It was Will
Remind us.
Smith and is it Jennifer Lopez? Somebody like that. Somebody pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually not bad as rom-coms go. They got the whole rooting for them kind of thing going, and there's a big problem. How are we going to get around this problem?
Yeah.
Jeez, they made it, and aren't they
Really?
a lovely couple?
So you describe it as an adequate film.
Yes, an adequate rom-com.
Yeah.
What else did I see? I also saw
Come on, something with zombies, surely.
yes.
Yes.
There's a new BBC reality TV show called I Survived the Zombie Apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse, that is right up our alley.
Nice. So it's they basically managed to get an abandoned shopping center in the middle of nowhere, and they've set it up with 10 survivors in the shopping center.
Not hard these days with Tesco's moving out. Is it?
Well, yeah. So they have it all done up, with burnt out cars and corpses and shit all over the place, and there's roving zombies. And the basic rule is if you're touched by a zombie, you're dead because they're super highly infectious.
All right.
And they have it kind of set up like a sort of a Big Brother effort. There's cameras around their little base where they're kind of safe and whatnot. And then they're in touch with the military, also known as Big Brother, who gives them little missions like go out and find food or find water. And of course it's more dangerous when they go outside. So it's a good idea, but the first episode definitely needed a little bit more oomph. Like the people who are in there aren't scared, which is a real problem.
I was going to say, that sounds like an amazing premise.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because they're going to be touched.
Yeah.
Not brains eaten. Yeah.
But I do have to question the thinking of some of the people in there. Like, they get this little safe spot that the zombies can't get into.
Yeah.
And, like, you would imagine most people that watch zombie movies, the first thing they're looking for is weapons. And then the second thing is, another way out of here.
Yeah.
And they're all just sitting around relaxing. So, where are you from? Yeah. Yeah, I'm from Leicester, Birmingham. Yeah.
So say they did get weapons. I mean, they obviously can't use weapons on these zombies.
I'd say somebody probably had a word with them beforehand.
Yeah.
You don't actually need a headshot to take these guys out.
Please, no
What are
killing
they?
the zombie extras.
Are they paintball guns or what?
No.
Do they have any or what?
So far I haven't seen anything.
All right. Okay.
But I mean, there's a few shows in, they might come up with some way to address that.
All right.
But I was going to give up on it, but the kind of preview for next week showed a little excerpt that looks a little bit like the second Aliens movie with people going around crawl spaces in air ducts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'd say it might pick up next week.
The fear factor.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I hate to say it, but I'm going to watch more of it.
I'm so goddamn proud of you, Mike.
Taking one for the team. Did anyone get to any of the storylines this week?
I got Ronanism.
Ronanism, yeah.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's true. We were swapping tweets with him there this
Yeah,
evening.
I saw. Someone's going to have to explain this to me.
Ronanism, I think it's like bracket or onanism. Yeah. So it's a bit this guy, he's in love with himself, and as he breaks up with what he deems to be his girlfriend, but she's like, but sure, we're not going out with each other at all. And he's going, that's a good way to take, well done. So, that kind of way. But, it's very, very funny. He just sort of tells her that, he's in love with himself and he sees himself spending the rest of his life with himself, and he's going to marry himself. So, one of the very good funny lines in the first episode, someone was saying, so are you gay? And he goes, no, I'm not gay. Are you straight? No, I'm kind of both. I'm kind of great. So you're bisexual? And you go, no, I kind of like to think of myself as bisexual. So it's very good. It's a good what do you call it? Angle.
Interesting. So is it like a reality show? Or is it a comedy?
It's just it's a comedy. Oh. It's part of the Storyland where they've got 6-minute episodes, 4 of them. Oh. Remember we looked at Far a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And
did the Hardy books come out of a similar thing?
They did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is where RT will take a demo tape kind of thing, of a few minutes, and then give I think it was the top 6 that they deemed the top 6, like a budget to go out and make 4 episodes, and then based on that, I don't know how the competition actually works, whether it's a voting or public voting or not. They actually get a series commissioned. So
cool.
Yeah. So it's great for. Small production teams, and it's great for RT, so. Yeah.
Cool. Imagine how many more of them they could make if they got rid of Ryan fucking Tuberty.
Well, that's it. I mean, if you think of the size of the budget that they gave out, but then, I don't know, would it dilute it a bit? Would you be getting all sorts of crap coming out? Whereas these 6, the ones I've seen so far, they're all great.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 that kind of stick out for us,
chances are there were 30 that were great. But they didn't have the money to
Well,
make them up.
yeah, there could be that too. Yeah. There's another one I saw, that was Ronanism. I saw Wrapped, which is based in Dublin. And, there's a girl, she is, paramedic, and she's responding to a call, where this lady has covered herself in petrol, and she's sitting in a playground. She has a Zippo lighter in her hand. And, she's sort of getting close to her, and so on. She's trying to get a dialogue going on her own. She's going, get out of here, and blah, blah, blah. She fires the fire extinguisher at her, right? There's a big cloud, and when it clears, your one's gone. And then she turns around, and then everyone's gone. And, I mean, like, everyone.
Yeah.
So she sort of manages to walk back home, and there's, like, cars after crashing. There's no people.
Right.
There's, like, skateboards and stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, her mother and her baby are missing. So, she sort of tracks it, I think by, Find My Mobile kind of app, and finds, where they were in a shopping center. But there's a couple of other things that happen in it that are very intriguing, and you're wondering what the big story is. Because she's given warnings, like just pops up on the screen where I think where was she? She was maybe at home or somebody else's house, but just randomly it called out her name and said, hide now. And then there's a big noise and a big light. You don't see what's making it. She hides and it sort of passes by. So there's, so
intriguing.
Yeah. So you don't know if it's like an alien thing or what it is, but it's very intriguing. Yeah. It's really good.
So they fit all that into 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 episodes. There's a lot more actually too. Okay. It's amazing how much, they get to tell you within 6 minutes even. Yeah.
It's good storytelling.
Yeah. It's good. Worth a look anyway. That's on the RT player.
Cool. So I might as well ask now, since if you haven't seen it yet, you won't. Are you going to watch Perry Jetem, Mike?
Okay.
You should watch it, Mike. Yeah.
I may watch it in 18 different sections.
That's fine. That's fine.
6 months.
Yeah. You can do like 1 arrondissement per day.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, it's a movie I've talked about here before. And I lent it to Steve, knowing that Steve would like it. So Steve watched it right away, and we're waiting to talk about it. But
watch this space. Watch this space. It's just even just looking at the cover, it's just glowing with artistic fervor.
Do you know, I wouldn't want to kind of hit you up with a double whammy of French films to watch this week, so I think we'll stick to Gurov and Anna, and we can do Paris Je t'aime another day.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
But I have a backlog of French films for you to watch. I think after Paris Je t'aime, it's going to be Bon Cop, Bad Cop.
I've seen that.
Oh, what? Well, there we go.
Yeah. That's the one, the Ontario guy and the Quebec cop.
Yeah, it's a
And-
Quebecois and an
Yeah.
Ontarian cop. Have you
Oh
seen
yeah,
it
yeah,
too?
I think so. Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Avid listeners would know that we reviewed that a couple years ago.
Guys, that's so impressive.
Yeah, there's no limit to the obscure shite we'll review on this.
It is not shite. Obscure.
I really enjoyed that
maybe.
actually, as far as I remember. Yeah.
And it was great as someone that's a French-English translator from Canada. I love the dialogues that they get into about like teaching each other how to swear, especially in French.
Yeah.
And there was some of that in Guru of Anana.
There was,
You can
actually,
pick up
wasn't
like the small like Quebecois terms. Tabernacle. Sorry to any
Yeah,
French
yeah.
listeners who are listening.
I remember it, that, in fact, that very word, because we were laughing about it.
Yeah.
Because because I was going, really? Tabernacle? Really? You know, is it a tabernacle? You know,
Yep.
how did that come to be? You know, anyway.
Most words associated with the Catholic Church are a swear word in Quebec.
I see.
Colis is a swear word, but I don't think it's related to the church. Oh, does that mean chalice?
Chalice, yeah.
Yeah, colis. It's like shit. Colis tabernacle. Anyways.
So this is an R-rated episode, isn't it?
Apparently, I'm sorry, everybody. I've got a potty mouth on me today.
He's just fucked our syndication.
So anyway, there's a couple of bits of news.
So Saturday Night Live just celebrated its 40th year on television. For those who don't know, Saturday Night Live is a weekly live TV show that airs on Saturdays. It's an eclectic variety show, usually hosted by celebrities with a musical guest, but then a core cast to do a bunch of sketches. This was a mammoth, with advertisements. This ran for 3.5 hours. So let's just say that there's a lot of data to crunch through to figure out whether or not it was a hit. Critically, I've seen everything from, if you're from New York and you like SNL, this is like the best episode ever. I've also heard SNL, great if you're from New York and you love SNL.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of inside jokes to their various history. Like Wayne's World was back for the night. They gave Dana Carvey some good stuff. Adam Sandler was there. Eddie Murphy was there. Horribly underused Eddie Murphy. They spent more time on his intro than they did on him talking, which is not what I would have done with Eddie Murphy, doing maybe the first solely comedic thing on a public stage that I've seen in, I don't know, forever. Point is, there was good and there was bad, but the ratings were quite good for it. They had, so during the 9 to 10 p.m. slot, it had an 8.4 rating, the key demo, which doesn't matter to me, but what does is that they have a 10.68 million people watching, and that's just among adults from 18 to 49. So that's pretty good. They did obviously lose some of those numbers, as time went on, but essentially they had 23.1 million viewers from 8 to 11:30 p.m.
Wow.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, I mean, which is, pretty cool. Now that's a special. Like, the chances are that that's going to take an immediate drop off for the rest of the season. But like, what are you going to do? Even the fact that they do this, write a show in a week, coordinate everything they need, and then film it live, and there aren't massive fuck-ups constantly, is a testament to Lorne Michaels and the rest of the gang. I actually read some speculation. Chevy Chase was there, and I read a great article just talking about how Chevy Chase was going to be like the next Johnny Carson. He was going to be the man. And for about 4 years, he did a season of SNL, Caddyshack, 2 or 3 other movies, 3 Amigos. He was the funniest guy going. And then he pissed off a fuck ton of people. And now Chevy Chase walks out onto the stage and doesn't really know what he's doing. So that was kind of like, oh, that is what that looked like. That's disheartening. But it was interesting because you could write one of those articles, good or bad, about almost every person they have there, which is just a testament to what they have going on, with the kind of talent that they get. And all 4 Ghostbusters met up at the after party, by the way, Shona.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the first picture ever of all 4 of them together showed up.
I was going to say, that would be kind of difficult. But yeah, okay, the new Ghostbusters, okay.
Another rating story though is that The Walking Dead has been doing very well, both this season and also with last week's mid-season return. even though it's had to compete with a lot of big events like the SNL 40 special. And it will have to compete again with the Oscars happening next week. But if it can possibly manage to keep the ratings it has, it seems like it's going to be one of, if not the most watched show in its time slot on cable.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's worth it. The past 2 episodes have been fucking killer and different to everything they've ever done in the show before.
That's good when a show can surprise you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they had one entire episode. I don't want to spoil it, but instead of going, here's an episode, and at the end someone's going to die, and everyone's going to go, and then you have to watch next week, they instead just had an episode where they were already reeling from the events of the mid-season finale, and then they spent an entire episode on watching one person's entire life fall apart piece by piece, with a lot of guest spots from some very important characters from this season and from the show as well. It was just really, really well done. I only hope more people can see it. I'm going to wait for Mike to see the light. I'm going to wait, and once he watches it, he can apologize to me a few years down the line.
Actually, it's funny you should mention that, because just this very evening I was trying to free up space on my Skybox because it's nearly full, and I deleted season 4.
Yeah, massive ball bag. Last bit of news that I have is, to the surprise of absolutely no one, the box office tosh that is 50 Shades of Grey has made a 94.4 million debut over the 4-day holiday of President's Day, Valentine's weekend, etc. So,
and by the end of,
I
believe by the end of Sunday night, worldwide, it was like 160. 160 million for spending 40 million. Mm-hmm. And it is the most well-timed movie, I think, Valentine's Day. Yeah. On a Saturday.
I heard in some cities around the place there was actually traffic jams with people trying to get to the cinema.
No way.
And blocking up intersections and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Why didn't those people just stay at home and have fucking sex?
Or just watch porn online like any self-respecting person.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Do you know anybody who actually went to see it?
None that admitted it.
There was a woman that works in the canteen in my office who told me on Friday that those were her Saturday night plans with her boyfriend. That's the only person.
That's why it was like, do you know what's easy to do? Go to the cinema. Wait a minute, will we go to the cinema for Valentine's? Well, that's fucking bullshit. Romance is dead twice over because of one film.
Sean, if only they had kept A to Z going, you may not be so dead inside.
So dead inside. Love, not only is it not real, but I'm pretty sure it was once, which is way worse. Now it's fucking dead.
Okay.
But another movie, another movie airing at the same time that did quite a good job at the box office was Kingsman, The Secret Service, which I actually got to see over the weekend. Did any of you guys see it or are interested in seeing it?
I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah,
all right.
I think we'll be reviewing it on an upcoming podcast.
Yeah, Sean is chomping at the bit here.
It's
to
Colin
see this
Firth in Suits. Don't deny me this pleasure.
Well, then I should reserve my opinion
Please
on
do,
said
Sean.
film, and we'll save it up, and maybe we'll butt heads, or maybe we'll butt hearts.
Oh.
I think we might be able to fit that in next week. What do you think?
I think so. Let's put it on the list.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about our movie this week. Sean, do you want to tell us about it?
Sure. Gurov and Anna is about a literature professor married with children who becomes enamored with one of the students in his class. And it goes from there.
Yes. Nice and concise and to the point. Yes.
Succinctly put.
Just shut up, Sean. You just keep going on and on.
Shona.
Okay, so this is a bilingual film, French and English, based in Montreal in Canada.
Not Montreal, Egypt, no?
Okay. Well, maybe not everyone knows Montreal.
I was just wondering.
I have a friend who lives in Montreal in France, actually. Yeah.
I personally, I suppose I really like the bilingual aspect of it. You'd have, the professor and his wife, she's from France. He's obviously an Anglophone. So they could kind of just switch it up between the two languages, which is just something I don't know, I love watching and, hearing. The accents themselves they weren't overtly Quebecois. I was listening for it, but there were a few swear words that were definitely Quebecois, as mentioned earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
it felt like a very French film to me in terms of its spacing around the characters, you know, giving characters room to breathe and kind of have emotional reactions, and things aren't, for me, they weren't overly predictable. You know, wherever you think the film is going to eventually head, it gets there maybe sooner than later and then moves on to the next twist, which I found interesting. One of the things I will say I didn't like about the film that happened at the very, very beginning is that there is a voiceover, and the voice of the voiceover was so jarring in its tone compared to what we were seeing on screen. It just didn't fit at all. And as it turns out, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. It's a monologue or something that different voices are kind of reading, and it's Anna's practicing. Well, not Anna. The woman who embodies Anna, Mercedes. Is reading, the script. But I mean, it's a small thing, but it kind of bugged me. But, I really liked the relationship between, the professor, whose name I forget everybody's name. What's the professor's name?
Sir.
Andre.
Was he given a name? Is it Andre?
That's the actor.
He was given a name. I'm reading it in my mind on his office door, but it's backwards because he was in his office. I swear to God. Oh, it's Benjamin. His name's Benjamin.
Professor Benjamin.
Well done. There we go. So we have Benjamin and Mercedes. So it was really interesting to see how this relationship evolved with her. You know, and there's a scene kind of where he's in her kitchen and she's making tea, and he's just kind of sitting at the side of the frame with his arms crossed, kind of staring at the floor, and she's making him tea. And there was something about the shot that I just thought was so beautiful. And I don't know what else to say about the evolution of the relationship without getting into spoilers. So I will leave it to somebody else to give their opinion on the film.
Okay. Sean, tell us.
It's very interesting that you said that first part, about the opening narration, because I, being, a terrible literature student, despite what I claim, I wasn't sure whether or not it was just about the characters. And then I went, oh, it's the book. Okay, it's the short story, that it is one of the focal points of the entire film. And I wasn't sure if I liked it not because I disliked what was happening, but I was like, wait a minute, is this just going to be really obvious? You know the book, well, it's like the book, but it's not. It's two different people who both read the book. So anyway, then Shona came along, and Shona said I didn't like it because it was jarring. And I went, well, you know what? Because my natural instinct is to disagree with everyone.
Yes, of course.
I went, you know what it might have been? It might have been because the book had a beautiful, sophisticated, clipped, like, this happens and then this happens. This person says this and it's beautiful. Life's not like that. So now I actually like it because it was so different from what life inevitably has to be. What I did like was there was a friend. There was a friend to Benjamin
John.
who was, I believe, a recent divorcee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he was great. I really liked his input because it was the kind of things that we either have a friend who would say that to us,
yeah,
Mike, or we had, or we would say that ourselves in certain scenarios if, like, we were dating someone who was completely browbeaten. I hesitate to say anyone's name in case they beat the shit out of me. So I really liked that every now and then he would just give advice along the lines of, just have sex with her and then leave. Or stuff along the lines of, don't have sex with her. That's stupid. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I don't really know. Like, the shots I thought were pretty, but I didn't really, it wasn't like there was one thing that was spectacular and I went, oh, that's fucking, yeah, that's the business. Although maybe some of the sexual stuff was filmed quite well. I thought that was choreographed really interestingly. But it wasn't like I was being taken aback. And I wonder if that was because of a pacing thing, of having an even tone, even while events were happening that were, fairly a big deal to the characters. And it might have been that character was delivered through dialogue rather than through action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, not to be too on the nose, but when you go watch a movie where the trailer is like, ooh, it looks like they're gonna, but they can't. But what if they do? How will it end? It's essentially a Chekhov's vagina. Like, you're wondering and waiting in a lot of ways. And then how can you move on? Like, how do you move on from there? Unless you really tilt things on its axis. So I feel like maybe this might have benefited from being a shorter movie. Not saying that there was any part that I would go, oh no, I'll get rid of that. But I just genuinely kind of wish it could have been shorter. But what do I know?
Sean, I totally agree with you about the best friend, John. It's funny that he's a relatively minor character, but he's somebody I really enjoyed watching too. So here's a thing that I was wondering about. So obviously, like you said, Sean, there's a parallel they're drawing between Benjamin and Mercedes and the characters in the book Guru of Anana. I mean, the movie's named after the characters in the book, even though obviously the movie we're seeing is about these other two characters. So there's obviously very strong parallels. And very early on in the movie, we see Mercedes having a discussion in Professor Benjamin's class, and they're asking, you know, like what is it, like what unites, I don't know, Gurov to his women, or I forget the exact discussion, but she says, you know, is it that he despises women and that's kind of the unifying thing? And everyone seems to agree with this. So it got me thinking about, as the evolution of their relationship moves on, and we see that maybe this isn't the perfect love affair that it's set out to be. I mean, when they begin, like that scene in the beginning when he's in the kitchen, and he's so polite, and it reminds me of like when guys come over for tea and you know like when stuff gonna happen, but like they're polite and you're polite, and it was just so sweet. And his vulnerability is really what stuck out to me in that scene, because you just see that he's so...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No,
right?
that really struck me how vulnerable he was there. Yeah,
he was so vulnerable. Like it was almost awkward to watch, because even though he's the older guy, he's a professor. He's her professor. She's obviously holding all the power, and you can see that despite all of his maybe authority on paper, he feels so vulnerable, saying like, "I'm here at your place. Something's gonna happen," and he's so afraid of rejection. But you can just see he's kind of balled up to be like, I'm gonna do this, because he needed...
Balled up, that's a nice term.
You know, it was kind of like, he needed this, and he kind of wanted the, I think, validation that her attraction gave to him. And it was a really kind of sweet scene, that whole visit, and I felt quite taken with both of them. And then you start to see the relationship evolve, and especially Benjamin and his relationship to Mercedes begins changing in a way that gets quite antagonistic at times. And I start to wonder, is this meant to be like Gurov? You know, are we supposed to be asking, does he hate women as well? Because you see some similarities between Mercedes and his wife. You know, like, is she his wife, but just 20 years earlier or something
newer
like
model.
that?
The newer model.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because like his wife... Go ahead.
There's actually a moment as well where there's an album cover, and the picture on the album cover that we see in the movie looks like both Mercedes and the wife as well,
yes.
Which I thought was really interesting visually.
Yes, and that album cover was brought up a few times in kind of key moments of the relationship.
You mentioned power, actually. That was the thing that really struck me about this movie, was the portrayal of it, and specifically through the language. Like, he is a English professor, and they hint at it. They don't fully state it straight out, but I got the impression he was a young superstar. You know, became a professor very young, got published very young, and he's used to everybody around him looking up to him as the next big thing. And all of a sudden he's hit midlife, and he's stalled. And the relationships of power that he has with the people around him have started to change. And you see, in different scenes, for example, like when he's talking to his students, he has the power. He speaks English, and they speak back to him in English, even if they're not first language speakers. In certain other scenes, social situations that he used to be the man, he's not quite the man anymore. The language is mixed. He still insists on speaking English when everyone else is speaking French around him. And he can quite
Even though he's fluent in French.
Yeah, he quite obviously can speak it. And then there are other points in the movie where he is particularly vulnerable, and he starts speaking French.
Yeah.
He's given up the linguistic ground, and also his power by that. So I thought that was very interestingly done.
I thought it was pretty cool that you described him as stalled, because the opening shot of the film is him helping a stalled car get out of a snowdrift and then not being thanked for it.
Yes.
Which is something that he keeps going, I keep doing all this shit for everybody.
Yeah.
No one thinks I'm amazing. And also other people aren't allowed to do good shit. Why can't they focus on me?
It's true. And I also find it really interesting, just to go back to his wife, like how much he resents his wife. I mean, there is a very quiet, very passive-aggressive, I don't know if hatred is the strong word, but he's very antagonistic towards her, even though I can't see any actions on her part that would warrant the behavior that he's giving her, you know? And so, like, what is it that she's done that he resents so much? Is it because, you know, she's becoming a published author and he does everything short of explicitly stating that he thinks she's, you know, crock. And it's...
Yeah. Well, you see, now she's a threat.
That was my
impression.
impression.
One of his, she was probably a groupie of his. Back in the day.
He's a threat and jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why he can't resist his student that, you know, pursues him so insistently, because it was maybe that type of adoration that he missed, you know? Yeah. But when you see, you know, his wife is now a published author, she's doing very well, she's a mother, she has a great circle of friends, she seems to be all the things that Mercedes is trying to be, you know, with the writing, and I just saw parallels there, and I wondered if that was the discussion that the film was having about that evolution of women in his lives, you know, where like it begins with love and it ends with, you know, it changes in its complexities, let's say, you know, and even, is it a coincidence that his two children are both daughters? Yeah. You know, like we see the women in his life at various stages of development, you know, daughters, the student, his wife, and even his daughters at one point, you know, he leaves alone in the house to go do something for himself because it just seems like he doesn't hold the women in his life in very high esteem, I guess is what I'm saying.
Do you think it's specifically women, or was that just an accident of character?
I don't know. That's kind of what I'm asking. Is it coincidence or conspiracy?
Yeah, because I think even with his buddy or friend John or whatever, the voice of reason, again, there's the feeling that his buddy has always been there to kind of pat him on the back and tell him you're doing great, and he's the natural leader. So again, he has power over his buddies, even though he's male. So I don't know if it's specifically an anti-female thing. I think he's just used to being the main man.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, sorry, not to cut across you, but what's interesting is the first analysis of Gurov and Anna, and one of the first times we see Mercedes speaking her mind as opposed to reading something. She makes the claim that it comes from Gurov's insecurity, his behavior towards women. It simply comes from that. And we see we see Benjamin come over, and once she says it, he goes, anyone want to disagree? And nobody does. Just like, insecurity leading to bad behavior rather than like hatred. Which I thought was interesting, because when is he insecure? Not around his mate, who doesn't seem to be doing that well. He's insecure around Dave, a guy in the class who goes on a study date at one point. He's like, you guys just studying? What's going on? So maybe it's just insecurity around people who are secure.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I thought Ben was brilliant. Ben. Andreas Apergis, is that pronounced right?
If it's, I don't know, Apergis?
Yeah, maybe. Sorry. Apologies if I got it wrong. But I thought he was great, very strong. And I mean, very striking looking too. He's kind of got a face that you sort of instantly like.
Yeah.
Can't tell why, but really like him straight away.
It's something about the eyes that are kind of cold and alluring at the same time.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah, yeah. And for the same reason, Mercedes. Sophie. Okay, you're going to have to help me with this one. My French isn't strong.
Desmarais.
Thank you.
That literally means the swamps, by the way.
Sophie Swamps. That's
Sophie
nice.
Swamps. Nice.
That's a great porn name.
Jesus, Mark. So, she
really plays the wide-eyed ingenue, but she plays
really
kind of opposite. Like her character is very different from the innocence that she seems to portray.
Innocent but dangerous.
Innocent but dangerous. Yeah. Wait, what did you think of her roommate /ex/friend?
Oh yeah.
I want
The really, really, really nice guy.
the guy who she has kind of brotherly vibes with that get into this sexual overtones. You're like, I hope that's not her brother, but it's somebody who is laying boundaries. I loved their relationship, and I actually wish we could have seen more about it because he seems like he's making fun of her because she obviously always goes for the older guy. She goes for the authority figure. And obviously, without much success. And, he's looking after her when she's, when she's upset, he kind of gets the bath for her and, his grandma dies and she offers to go to the funeral. And you can see that they have a real loving relationship. And he seems to be the only person in her life who's really cares for her and who's there for her. And yet he refuses to let it become sexual. There's a point where, she just says, will you make love to me? And he's just like, no. That's, it's not, it doesn't seem to be like it's rejecting her, like, no, it's not gonna,
it's
but it's
like,
just kind of like there's a boundary in our relationship,
Yeah. I just think the poor bastard's been trapped in the friend zone so long he doesn't know what to do about it.
I got the opinion, it seemed to me like he had maybe been a boyfriend at one time.
Maybe.
But he was a good guy that stumbled into her life and stayed there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He mentions it. She asks him, like, did you love me?
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
And he's like, that wasn't the problem, or that's not the
You're
right
asking
question.
the wrong
She
question.
goes, did I love you? He knew how to handle her. That's why I liked him.
Yeah.
Because it was clear he'd been burned and he was still sticking around for some unknown reason. Like, seriously, to me, an unknown reason. And I wish that he'd gotten, not more to do, because he has other scenes after that, but I wish that his scenes had been more along the lines of, no, you're stupid. This is what you're doing. I'm right. Congratulations. You're not going to change. So, let's put on a film. I would like to see him dress down a few people in this movie. I would have been happy to see that happen. Real conflict as opposed to, passion conflict. I think is what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like actually someone going, no, you can't try that shit with me.
But I don't think that was the role he has in her life. I mean, it seemed like it was just genuine. He seemed happy to be there for her. And it wasn't like the kind of reality check friend that we all have. It was very much a kind of I'm on your side regardless type friendship.
Not going to judge you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one really sweet scene when she came home and she wasn't doing so well and he got a bath ready for her and just got her into the bath and it was just so tender. It broke my heart.
What did you think of the length of this movie? I know, Sean, you mentioned it already. But for yourselves.
I didn't have a problem with the length.
Yeah.
It was, they might have chopped 5 minutes off it, but, I wasn't sitting there looking at my watch or anything.
Yeah. That's pretty much why I'm asking. It's a bit of a loaded question, really.
Well, I know. I think
it absolutely flew for me.
Did it?
Yeah.
See, I think the beginning, maybe it would be Act 1, went by quite quickly. The chasing aspect of their relationship. I think once they got together and then things started to get complex, it did drag a little bit for me in the middle.
Okay. Well, that's because we were waiting for what's the next thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sitting there bored at all. It was just kind of like the only part of the movie that didn't fly by.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a strong criticism because I really like this movie as well.
The score?
Mike.
Didn't impress me. I don't.
Did it not?
No.
Another thing I really liked.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, to be honest. So, by definition, it didn't impress me.
Okay, yeah.
I would have liked to see a little bit more Canada tourist stuff.
Okay.
There was craft dinner twice in the movie. That's all you need. This movie is like Canadian and well done.
Yeah, but they don't get that many widely distributed movies set in Montreal. They didn't give your little 2-minute tour around the place kind of thing. Oh, isn't that cool? I'd love to go to Montreal.
Yeah.
Exterior shots is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, they had
Grand
snow.
vistas. But that's only a small thing,
I guess it's because a lot of the scenes were indoors, like classrooms or bedrooms or clubs or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it could be anywhere, and it just
maybe
adds
that
to a
was
little
the
sense of
point. There was
place.
something international about it. English, French, which city?
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Putting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you wonder about the bilingualism, how much that would appeal. Like, very small section of
Yeah, I'm the wrong
Canada,
person to
that's
ask
it.
because I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you look at Canada as a whole, there's only a very small part of it that's bilingual.
But I think it is reflective of life in Montreal.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
suppose.
regional that way.
Yeah. Got the little
I don't know
taste.
if you'd see that much fluid integration between even small groups of friends. I think they probably tend to be one linguistic group or another, but that type of linguistic fluidity was, I don't know. I saw that when I lived in Montreal, so it was cool to see.
All right. Did they have chips with cheese melted on it?
Poutine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gravy.
I didn't notice it.
Poutine's Quebecois. It's cheese
Yeah.
curd and gravy on chips.
But was that in the movie?
It's good.
I didn't notice it.
Did they have poutine? I don't think so. No.
Did you just go, this is a food that exists? Did they have that?
They
Was that in the film?
didn't. They didn't have maple syrup either in the film, as far as I saw. Listen,
damn it.
people, they had Kraft Dinner macaroni and cheese twice. Twice. That alone covered the food quotient of Canadian requirements.
Fair enough. I'm standing down on this one.
As well, you should. Shut the fuck up.
I believe
Stay down, Mike.
this is out in March, I believe. So, yeah. So keep an eye out for this. Do you want to mark this?
Let's do it.
Mike, give us a mark.
I enjoyed the movie. The ending I had a slight problem with, but I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, I'll give it a 6. You know, it's a good movie. Not my favorite movie, but yeah, it's worth seeing.
Sean.
Yeah, definitely quite well made and outside of my typical wheelhouse. Si c'est demi.
Bien marqué.
Okay, in English, please, Shauna.
Well scored.
I suppose I'll have to give it a 6, though I'm wavering quite a bit between that and a higher mark.
Okay.
I'm also wavering between two scores. I thought the production value was really good.
Yeah.
As a Canadian, I'm really proud to have seen this film come out of the country. I really liked the beginning. The closer we got to the end, I think the more confused I got. There may be layers that if I saw the film again, I'd pick up on. So it gets kudos that way for making it rewatchable because of the layers maybe that you could pick up on of meaning. But some of them went over my head, so I'm not sure I completely understood what was being implied as the relationship went on. But I did enjoy the film, so I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Very good.
A good 7.
Yeah. You know, this is one of these movies where the trailer really doesn't do it justice.
I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, having seen the trailer, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if this is going to be good. You know, just production values didn't come across very well, let's say.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it's just the shots that they showed or whatever. But I really enjoyed this and was captivated by it, I have to say. And it's an 8 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's definitely worth a look. And it's it's great to see it. It's a bit different from our usual fare as
well. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single explosion, was there?
Well, Shauna, if you actually do have any specific questions about the movie, luckily for you, we're interviewing Celeste, the writer, which our lovely listeners will get to listen to.
Celeste Parr, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Celeste Parr.
That sounds amazing.
And that will be out next week, early next week. Mm-hmm. So if you've any questions,
I genuinely really look
Twitter.
forward to hearing that interview.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Félicitations, Celeste. Un bon film.
Okay, first of our TV is Schitt's Creek.
Spell it.
Schitts.
And that's the joke.
That's the joke. This stars Eugene Levy, who's we know from everything. And his wife is played by Catherine O'Hara, who we know as...
Who's his wife and everything.
Yeah, and it was also Macaulay Culkin's mother in Home Alone.
Kevin!
Yeah. Kevin! So this is about a video store chain magnate who loses everything due to his accountant, and they have to move to a town which he bought as a joke for his son to get the deed, and it's out in the sticks. And so they have to leave all their niceties behind and go back to basics. Very basics, in fact.
When they find out that he bought, this town for his son as a joke because it was called Schitt.
Yeah. And he said, you didn't just make it up on an A4 page like a photocopy. You actually bought
He's
that
like, well,
place?
how else was I going to get the deed? And they're like,
Who is this written by, Steve? Who created the show?
You know what? Caught me in the hop. I'm not sure.
Well, I was basically just giving you a soft one. It's Daniel Levy, who I believe is the son of Eugene Levy and also plays the son of Eugene Levy in this show.
I had noticed.
Oh.
I had noticed Daniel Levy in the credits, and my first thought was, I wonder if that's Eugene's son. But I didn't do any research beyond that. So good job, Sean.
Wow, and you know
I
what?
think it is, yeah.
He was my standout character in this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was the best character in this. He was not only the funniest, but the most antagonistic. Yeah, he was great in it, actually.
Yeah, because it's the type of story we've seen before where, like, rich family loses their riches. You know, we saw it with Arrested Development, which is a show I love. Yeah, and I think the kids were kind of funny. I thought the daughter reminded me a lot of Jenny Slate's character in Parks and Recreation. Like, really entitled, kind of really entitled, hilariously so. Yeah. And I think I would have preferred it almost if it was Jenny Slate playing the daughter, but the son was also really good.
What did they call it? Affluenza?
Affluenza.
Yeah. Yeah. I only heard this term during the week.
That's a good
Affluenza, yeah. People suffering from affluenza. So what do we think?
I absolutely fucking hated this show.
I knew you would.
Yep.
Yeah. Why, Mike?
They were horrible people, and, you know, for a show like this to work, horrible stuff has to happen to them on a major scale. And just getting poor isn't horrible enough in my book. I thought the dialogue was really weak. They were substituting shouting for anything that was worth thinking about. My ears were actually starting to bleed by the end of the show with all the shouting that was going on. It's like, just stop.
Shouty
Stop.
drama.
Shouty drama. I thought the characters were paper thin. Maybe they'll do something about that over the course of the show, but for a pilot, no, it was very weak. The humor, such as it was, I thought was really, you know, crap. Yeah, it's my bed. No, it's your bed. My bed. Your bed. Yeah, it just made me wince every minute I had to watch of it.
What did you think of the girl who ran the hotel? I thought you'd have liked that humor.
The girl at the front desk?
Yeah, the very sarcastic girl.
Yeah, she didn't get enough though.
No.
Yeah. She may possibly have rescued it, but she obviously wasn't getting a big enough check to do that.
Yeah.
Reminded me a little bit of Kate Mara.
Yeah. Not unlike her.
Yeah. Possibly a distant cousin or something, but. So no, I can't think of anything good to say about this show. It's just so false, so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Shauna.
I'm always kind of up for quirky comedies. It's the kind of thing that I would normally watch in my spare time. So, I was intrigued. You know, I think the opening scene was intriguing when, you know, the revenue service or whatever shows up in their huge mansion and start confiscating all of their, material goods, and you think, okay, this could be setting up for a good episode. Where is it going to go from here? You see, Eugene Levy's wife, you know, getting hysterical that her wigs are being taken, and, I don't think that scene in and of itself was funny. I wasn't really laughing, but I was thinking, okay, this looks like it could be interesting where it goes from here. I think my issue with the show, well, there's a few of them, but one of them was where they go, Schitt's Creek. It's kind of this really redneck town that doesn't really give the right setting, it seems like, to have any decent humor. A lot of the humor seemed to focus on, like, toilet humor kind of thing, which I think can be cheap writing and goes for cheap jokes, but with characters or with actors like Eugene Levy and, God, I always, his wife's name, they need smart writing, and I don't think in this episode I saw very much smart writing. You know, there was jokes about someone overstaying their welcome, watching too much TV, using their toilet. You know, there was the who's gonna get which bed between the siblings because the person in in the bed closest to the door is the one that gets killed. And there's a bit of joke kind of about, which one is more narcissistic. I think that the dialogue between the brother and sister is maybe the funniest of the episode, but even still, it wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
So I think the cast looks like it has potential. I just don't really like the town that they've put them in, the redneck town with like a really redneck mayor. Gives them a lot to work with. I think something more like, in Arrested Development, they've lost their money, but we still get to see them kind of scraping by and trying to find ways to, keep their pride and save face at all times, and it doesn't require them to be completely moved out of the setting that kind of defines them as characters. And then I just think that the script was quite weak, and the humor just wasn't good enough for the people that were acting. I think that the sister and brother could actually be funny and live up to a good script in the same way that Eugene Levy and, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting her name, the woman who plays his wife.
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, thank you. I think they would all be capable of being funny with a better script or something that was a bit wittier, but I just didn't see it in this episode. So yeah, I wasn't that impressed either.
I mean, by way of comparison, there was a really good Simpsons episode where they all went out to the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the space of 20 minutes, half an hour, they actually got a lot of laughs in similar circumstances. And it would have blown this away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now I know the Simpsons have a lot more practice at it, but, we have to compare.
Yeah.
And it didn't do well by comparison.
Sean, you mentioned, Dan Levy.
Dan.
Did you know that Sarah Levy was also in this? His sister?
No.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Really?
So it's just 3 Levys and an O'Hara.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, no, but she played the friendly cafe waitress person
Oh,
in the
okay.
town. Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
The overly big menus joke. Yeah. I remember now.
Exactly. Yeah. What did you think of this then, Sean?
It was as complex as a kids' show, but it happened to have cursing in it.
Yeah.
I think Eugene Levy couldn't say no to his kid. I think Eugene Levy was doing a favor for his kid, and I think that they got a show out of it, which may in the future, like once this is cancelled, may in the future lead to Dan Levy getting a job, and if that's what they want and they achieve that, amazing. However, what I'm doing there is putting my faith in people to not give a shit that his show isn't good. Like, genuinely, it's not a good show. If the next episode was completely different in terms of the level of comedy, which has been discussed, then sure, that'd be fine. But so far, everything we've compared it to is better than it by far more than A Country Mile. I mean, Arrested Development, like Simpsons, all of those. I would rather watch an episode of Big Bang Theory. Like, genuinely, I would rather watch 2.5 Men. Like,
oh God,
which is
you're scraping the barrel.
Yeah.
But genuinely, so just not enough happens. There's also a rule or a guideline of rising action to keep the interest of an audience.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is the first scene. Everything after that is mild inconvenience to people who will apparently be fine because they own a fucking town.
Yeah.
Like, if you own a town, how are you not fine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's an internal logic problem. And I'm going to be really sad that Parks and Recreation is going to be over and we're going to get 6 of these shows every fucking season. One of them will survive for maybe a season.
Hell, you'd be delighted to know they've made 13 episodes of this.
Seriously?
Classic.
Yeah.
Is it cancelled yet?
Not so far. No.
Matter of time.
So ringing endorsement from Is It a Bicycle for this. So I'm going to assume that's 4 fillers.
Sounds like 4 fillers to me.
Oh, Steve, you didn't tell us what you thought of it.
Oh, I think I just did. Not to waste any more air on it. So
We can move on to the next TV show, which is more exciting.
Yeah, which is the next for TV was Better Call Saul, the long-awaited Better Call Saul, which is sort of a prequel to the character that we knew from Breaking Bad, the dodgy lawyer. So, the guy who had some classic lines like, I'm going to recommend that you get your shit together. Yeah. So, So what do we think of this? Who wants to start? Who wants to tell us more about it?
You rarely get to start.
Okay. This is, like I said, is about Saul, and it's his early, very humble beginnings, and I don't know. I mean, the character is no different, so we know where we're starting with, and it's just hilarious, actually, because of the situations he gets himself into, even just from being paid so little, or he's trying to double his money because he's representing triple or quadruple.
Yeah, he's representing three guys, but he does it in one case, so he gets paid one fee because it's one trial. But he's like, but there's three defendants.
They're like, no, it's the one case. Sorry. And then he tells them, never coming back here, and then he's back the next day, kind of thing. And then there's the running joke where he doesn't have enough stamps on his ticket to get out of the car park, where he's to go back in, and he's in an argument with the guy on the gate.
Who we recognize.
Yeah, from where?
It's Mike from Breaking Bad.
Oh,
yeah.
Jonathan Banks.
He's the assassin.
Of course. Yeah.
Assassin, she says. Assassin.
I don't know. He's the guy that kills guys and has a granddaughter he loves.
And, actually there's, of course, the other character, which we've seen in Breaking Bad as well. The very evil, Mexican dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
his appearance is more like surprise.
Yes, but that's more the hook.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is great. I mean, it starts off, it's very, very funny. I mean, he gets himself into very, awkward situations, through his own doing. I can't wait to see more. Yeah.
Well, luckily for you, it's on Netflix. You can binge watch. Actually, it's one episode every Tuesday, isn't it?
It is. I think episode 3 is out at the moment. Yeah.
Monday? Is it Monday or Tuesday? Theirs.
Well, Netflix here says they're uploaded every Tuesday.
I think it airs on Monday.
I think it premiered on, wasn't it a Sunday and a Monday? Or a Monday and a Tuesday, I can't remember. Monday and Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, it was a Monday and a Tuesday. They did a weird release where they went, here's episode 1, and now here's episode 2. Wasn't that fun? No, wait a week.
Yeah.
I think, Steve, I might disagree with you slightly.
Okay.
In that the character, I think, is different. And I have watched more, and I know you have as well, but I think he's a better man.
Do you think this is because he hasn't been exposed to the ravages of what he's about to be exposed to? That we know what's coming, so.
Breaking Bad was a show about a guy who Break Bad, he turned to crime, and maybe he was doing it for his family, maybe he wasn't. Like, that's the core question of the show that develops, as the empire of Heisenberg is built. This show had a big job to do, because one, it's kind of a similar premise, because we know where Jimmy McGill or Saul Goodman ends up as of Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
So it had to go, listen, we want to show his path to that. But we're more than a one-trick pony, we promise, And it also had to go, Breaking Bad. Yeah, we're aware of it, so we have to figure out if we're going to ignore it. We have to figure out if we're going to include it. And it had the best idea for an opening that they possibly could have done in black and white, showing some events after Breaking Bad's finale. And here's the thing, right? There's a line in Breaking Bad where Saul Goodman goes, best case scenario, I'll be the manager of a Cinnabon in Ohio in 6 months. And he is not the manager.
Yeah.
Switched to Cinnabon in Ohio. So it's already like, sorry mate, like you fucked up.
I didn't get that was the aftermath of Breaking Bad. I was really happy that they opened on Cinnabon because I love Cinnabon. It's like crack cocaine. But I was confused about the timeline of him in Cinnabon because he had a mustache, and then the rest of the episode when he doesn't have a mustache. I did not understand what was happening.
Oh, the flashback.
So I'm really happy that you clarified that for me now.
Yeah, because he's watching videotapes of who he used to be, Saul Goodman.
Yeah.
He's watching his commercials, and his hair is almost all gone from the top of his head.
Right.
I think that was the classic disguise mustache, is what that was. And then we show him, and it goes straight to, alright, well now we know, they're fucking Breaking Bad. I'm gonna look Breaking Bad in the face and go, this is our fucking show. And yeah, we love that one too. And then we see Saul Goodman, before he was, trying to practice his speech in a bathroom. And you're right, it is hilarious. And it's also really tense. Breaking Bad used to be able to make you go, holy shit, this guy is doing chemistry, and it's fraught with tension. This is doing the same thing with lawyering in a way that other lawyer shows don't do. It's already interesting. He is a lawyer who may start to become a criminal. They have that great line at the opening where not at the opening, but when he's trying to find these 2 new clients, And he says, I don't seek out criminals to represent them.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, just wait. I'm so excited about the show.
Mike.
What's Mark's line? I don't know what show you were watching.
It's not the same show I saw.
I fucking hated this.
Did you?
Yep, with a passion.
Wow.
I thought the opening scene was fantastic. The whole black and white section. There's a bit where he gets a bottle of Dewars and then tops it up with Drambuie and little afterthought squirt of water. I thought that was a fucking moment of genius, and I thought, why didn't I think of that?
Mike, it was actually lime juice from one of those lime-shaped squeezers.
Was it lime? Okay, even better. You know, I really, really enjoyed that, and I thought, oh, this is going to be something fantastic. And then it reverts to the show. And I didn't find it even remotely funny. I started actually getting bitter and twisted because I was thinking about Rake, which was a similar kind of a character but much funnier and much better, and cancelled.
Oh, that's the guy that we really didn't like the character of, though.
Yeah,
it was Greg Kinnear in a much less well-written show, but Mike loved it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I enjoyed Rake, and I'm still bitter about it being cancelled.
Oh.
And this I saw as a shit version of Rake.
Oh.
And I had no baggage from Breaking Bad to carry with me. I didn't recognize the character Saul and say, oh, that's Saul. Because I haven't watched Breaking Bad. So it was just,
God, you're not qualified.
It was just coming at me as, this is a show. Show me. Impress me. And it didn't. And as it went on, you know, I was thinking, okay, this isn't funny enough to be a comedy, and it's not dramatic enough to be a drama. So what is it? And then it hit me like a wrecking ball in the face. This is a fucking caper. This is Steve's shit. This is what Steve does to me. He makes me watch fucking capers. Waste my life.
So that's a unique perspective here then, because we've seen Breaking Bad. Yeah.
It's really good to hear someone's opinion who hasn't seen Breaking Bad, because I think it was such a huge show, and being able to watch the episode with eyes that didn't understand maybe the flash forward in the in the beginning scene of him at Cinnabon, that was lost on me, and I watched Breaking Bad quite recently. But that would have been lost on you, and then the other character references as well.
Yeah, I had no idea what they were talking about.
Yeah, and you wouldn't necessarily know where Saul is heading as a character.
No idea. And indeed, I thought to myself, you know, Mike, you're some cold-hearted bastard. Everybody's loving this. Why don't you just give it a chance? So I watched the second episode, and because there was a hook. There was a hook at the first episode. I said, okay, I'm gonna man up. I'm gonna follow this hook.
Bite the hook.
And I turned it off after 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I am so stunned.
I was bored out of my brain.
You see, I think if you saw the Saul from Breaking Bad, that you would realize that the rake guy is an amateur. And you'd appreciate this more.
Yeah.
No, really, it isn't talking down to you, saying that your opinion's wrong or anything. But it's
you're
just,
wrong, Mike.
Yeah. No, it's just, I think that's probably the main hook for the majority of people watching this. Anyway, is knowing where he's going to get to and how much crap he's going to get through and stuff that he's going to do to get there. Yeah. So. Maybe it'd be worth watching Breaking Bad.
I'm not watching 9 seasons of Breaking Bad just so I can watch this fucking show.
Just watch the last one, maybe.
I disagree vehemently that you need to watch Breaking Bad to like this show. I'm still surprised that Mike dislikes it. I completely don't understand that, so I'm going to ignore it. But the way we see him at the start, if I had never seen Breaking Bad, we know this guy's in shit. Like, we don't know who he is. It's a completely silent opening. All we know is his life is shit, and he's. We might get the impression he's on the run based on he's like checking out a guy he's worried is there to kill him, and then he puts on the TV. And if I didn't know who Saul Goodman was, I'd be like, well, who the fuck? Wait, that's his voice, because when I hear it later, you know what I mean? But here's the thing: his living situation that we see at the start, and his living situation that we see just ongoing, are similar enough that it's like, well, every bad thing this guy does, every inch he scrapes and climbs, and every piece of himself that he sells to try and get to be a better man, to be a big boy, you know, to get out of the shadow of whoever his family member is. We don't know if it's a brother, but I think it's his brother that he lives with. Every step he's going to take, it's not going to be worth anything in the end. But we do know he's going to reinvent himself. Like, we're told that. It's literally like, don't you want to invent your own, like, brand, your own idea?
Yeah.
Like, come up with your own thing. And he's like, so what's it going to take to make him change? And what's it going to take to make him stand on his own 2 feet? I think that question is posed whether you've seen it or not. And the ending, the outcome, we already know how you're going to get there. And they fuck around with time in Breaking Bad frequently. And I think they're going to fuck around with time here in multiple ways. I'm excited to see that. And I can't believe you didn't laugh at some of the just ridiculous, gross, like, violent stuff. Like, it's so crazy to me.
Did you see it bent backwards? You know.
Yeah. That's one thing that annoyed me. Like, he got $700 for that trial.
Yeah.
I'd love to make $700 in an hour. Fuck him.
That's not how long.
Nah,
Fuck him.
That's not how long
that's
it
several
took.
weeks, though. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Does that guy look to you like a guy who'd do due diligence and prepare for his
Well, look
case
at him. He
properly?
was practicing his speech in the bathroom because he was so nervous.
He gave it 10 minutes in the bathroom to get ready
I
for
think
his
it was
fucking...
more than that.
Mike,
He's
I'm
a
not
waste
sure
of
you
space.
understand the process of being a lawyer. I know I don't, but I don't think it's that. I don't think it's just you show up and do the bit they show on.
Well, you say proper lawyers do preparation. He's quite obviously not a proper lawyer, and that's why he's in Schitt Street.
No, but I think that's part of what's interesting is because we see him in the beginning. I think he's trying to be bona fide. He's trying to kind of show his worth and prove his mettle. But the irony is, of course, that we know he's going to eventually, the way that he's going to prove his worth and how unflappable he is as a lawyer isn't until he kind of goes off the straight and narrow and starts representing, questionable clientele. And, I really liked that about the pilot because in one episode they managed to kind of do, I think, that transformation in him on kind of a more microcosmic level where he's, he's trying to defend these kids, where there is evidence against them that makes defending them pretty difficult. But he's still there defending them.
Well, there exactly sums it up. It makes it very clear in that scene that he is not aware of the prosecution evidence.
Yeah.
So he hasn't done his prep work. He just fucking showed up. He's
maybe a bit naive, maybe even. His eyes haven't been opened up yet because we know that, there's going to be a time later on. I remember when Walter goes to him for the first time and Walter's the guy that doesn't know how to go to a drug lawyer get him to fix things, and Saul's kind of mocking him for his naivete, but we're seeing that kind of innocence in Jimmy, as it turns out, at the beginning of the episode. But then by the end of the episode, we see him kind of venturing into criminal territory and very shady ground. And then there's a great hook that you just think oh man, we're gonna they're not gonna wait too long to really warm up to
get into the meat of it.
How long it takes him to become the character that is interesting. And because it's still Vince Gilligan, I have faith that the character's going to be fleshed out, kind of like what Sean was saying, that it's more than the one-trick pony, that we're going to see some good writing and some interesting storytelling by using maybe flash forwards or flash backwards, and some stuff that I think will make the show worth watching. I don't know if the pilot itself I was completely blown away by, but I'm definitely hooked in terms of watching more.
I did have to watch the second one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. The first episode, I think he's still a bit too green to be interesting. Yeah.
I think
the real tension is going to come when we see him really getting into being, a criminal lawyer.
Yeah.
Like a criminal's lawyer.
Yeah, true.
Pilot episode gripped my nutbag from get-go. I really did not expect. And first of all, he definitely knew about the evidence that they had, or he wouldn't have been arguing the way that he was. When they wheel out that TV and you see what those kids he's representing actually did with that dead body, that was amazing. That was hilarious. And you would just look at his face and you're like, oh shit. Oh my god. What the fuck? And of course, why, not only is that original, I never would have guessed that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
But second of all, that's just an everyday occurrence. And in this show, that's every scene. They have something like that going on. There's the weird thing going on with that guy who's sick, which can be funny and then turns on a dime. when this guy has really got his life all messed around because he has mental problems of some kind, and he's definitely got health issues as well. And Saul is doing a thing to try and help someone.
Yeah.
And we don't see him do that for anybody else. And I want to know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Thriller, Sean?
Yeah, I'll go with Thriller.
Thriller, Sean?
Thriller from me?
Filler?
Thriller.
Thriller? Mike, Filler, I presume.
Fuck this shit.
Yeah. And Thriller for me. Okay, 3 thrillers and a Filler. Okay. So, go see it and ignore Mike. Okay, next up we've got some previews and Coming to a Bicycle near you. Okay, so the first one is Crimson Peak.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah, I'm surprised at you.
Well, I read something about it, and I was like, well, there we go. This is not something that the guys are going to expect me to.
It certainly wasn't.
It's a very, like, a gothic horror film, really, isn't it? Victorian era horror film where there's kind of is the house haunted, or there's something kind of weird that happens in the house? There's, the trailer opens on a party scene, very Victorian, with women in their corsets in their hair, and there's discussions about the house, and then it turns out that things get scary.
And they get very scary, and I think it's going to be quite a lot of imagination has been put into these scary things because, of course, it's Guillermo del Toro.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So and you could see that, I think, in some of the snippets that you see during the trailer.
Yeah.
You sort of go, oh dear.
What I had been reading about the trailer was that it's Guillermo del Toro, and then also the cast that's in the movie, which I'm blanking on at the moment, but I mean they're big names anyways, and it looks, I'm assuming it's going to be an October release or something.
Oh, what's his name? Rob Stark, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Rob Stark. Gotta love him. And I assume it's going to be an October release. It's probably going to be way too scary for me to actually watch, but I felt proud of myself for watching the trailer.
Okay, Sean, I'll watch it for you.
Tom Hiddleston's in it.
Yes. Is
Jessica
Tilda
Chastain.
Swinton as well in it?
Sorry?
Is Tilda Swinton in it?
Tilda Swinton.
No.
I don't know.
She'd be at the top of that list if she was. Okay. Anyways, they're big names with Rob Stark and all the other people.
Tom Hiddleston and Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain, that's it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it looks way too scary for me to watch, but actually, the trailer looked intriguing, which is what a trailer is supposed to do, so.
It does actually, yeah.
Would you go see this?
I think I would,
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, it's because it's not, see, my problem with horror movies is the whole jumpy bang, shout, oh my god! I just don't find them entertaining because normally you see them coming a mile off, and then when it happens, you just go, that wasn't really entertaining.
Yeah.
And it's not scary either. It's just a shock, but it's not like a big scare.
Yeah, you're not frightened.
Yeah. So this kind of stuff,
and that big hole in your head, your imagination is supposed to live in.
No, but this is exactly that though, Mike. This is where your imagination's gonna go, and it'll get under your skin and slowly crawl up. And then suddenly you're going, oh shit, like, get out.
It looks like a very moody horror film.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Woman in Blackish, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Only I couldn't think of the title, and I was like, Black Woman? No, that's not it. Yeah, I'd say it's very similar in tone.
Okay.
Speaking of which, Woman in Black 2 is coming out soon.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're going to have a look at that, I think.
Yeah, it's actually been out for quite a while.
Has it? It's out already?
January.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, I missed that. How did we miss that?
Because you kept on
You're hiding this on it.
You kept putting fucking foreign movies on the list.
Next one we looked at was Cinderella.
Yeah. Well, this is the third trailer that we're reviewing. There's been a few out since, but it hasn't been released in Ireland yet, so I thought it would be fun to have a look at, because it's a Disney film, but it's maybe for Disney, a slightly more grown-up version of the tale than, what the fairy tale would entail.
Kate Blanchett looks great in this, actually.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett always looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone looks really interesting. We see some great makeup and costumes. Is this also the one that
Lily James, Elena Bowden Carter?
Who I'm thinking of your one from
Graham.
Maybe it's a different movie. Because there was another Cinderella movie made that's not called Cinderella that Anna Kendrick stars in. That's a musical.
Oh,
Anybody?
that's more Mike's Fair musicals.
Was that the French one done in mime? From what we all
Are you talking about Into the Woods or something? I don't know what.
That's it. Sorry, it's Into the Woods.
Yeah, that's been nominated actually. Yeah, a few times. So, yeah, Sean.
It also seems that this film already is sparking a trend of Disney going back to their animated catalog and making live action movies of this.
Yeah.
'Cause Beauty and the Beast already has cast Emma Watson as their Beauty, which thumbs up from me. But it seems like they're going to do this for a while, which will be Disney's version of what intellectual property do we have that we can reuse and turn into, $1 million every few hours. So expect more.
The last one we looked at is Big Game, which is the new big Samuel L. Fishburne. Samuel L. Jackson's new movie, which also has Ray Stevenson and Ted Levine. This is Samuel is the president of the United States and he's in Air Force One and there's missiles fired at them. There's a conspiracy on board and he's chucked out in the safety pod thing.
Hang on, is this like Bermuda Tentacles?
I guess, yeah, it is. It is, yeah.
Without the space octopus.
Pretty much. Instead of a space octopus, there's a Finnish hunter boy.
Okay.
Yeah, who finds him. It's quite funny because this Finnish hunter boy finds him, but so they both are battling these conspiracy guys and other people who are trying to get the president, right? But the Finnish boy has really good English. This hunter boy. This
does he have any extra fingers or?
No. But he does come out with some classic lines like, "No, Mr. President, I got this." Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is right up your street, actually.
So does Mace Windu have a lightsaber or?
Yeah, it's a lot of explosions, a lot of chasing and guns firing and miraculous escapes and jumping off cliffs onto stuff hanging underneath the helicopters and things like that.
Sounds fucking brilliant.
Thought you'd like it, all right. Yeah. So drivel. Yeah. I think that's all we have for this week. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it, folks.
Okay. So
That's all she wrote.
Mike, Sean, and Steve. Stay classy.
I hope they check out the interview with Celeste as well.